Sounds good.
Good morning, everyone. It's Friday. Time for a quick 30-minute training. Today, we're going to talk about nonprofits. David, my nonprofit specialist, is here, and we're going to talk about specifically Giving Tuesday ideas. How do you get to your core fans? How do you make Giving Tuesday work for you? And what kind of strategies can you use or tips and tricks? So with that, David, I will let you get started. I am going to let everyone know that if they have a question, I am monitoring the chat, and they can let me know if they have any questions, and I will bring them up.
Sounds good. Thank you, Virginia. I appreciate it. As Virginia mentioned, my name is Dave Marks. I'm a digital media specialist, also a nonprofit specialist for Weiskopf Consulting. And let's get started learning more about Giving Tuesday ideas for nonprofits. So first off, I'd like to explain kind of exactly what is Giving Tuesday. Many people know about Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, even Cyber Monday, but up until a few years ago, not many people knew about Giving Tuesday. That's mainly because it was started in 2012. According to its website, Giving Tuesday is a global generosity movement unleashing the power of people and organizations to transform their communities and the world. As I mentioned, Giving Tuesday was created in 2012 as a simple idea, a day that encourages people to do good. Over the past 8 years, it has grown into a global movement that inspires hundreds of millions of people to give, collaborate, and celebrate generosity. Their mission is to build a more just and generous world. So as I had mentioned, it was kind of created to break up the Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday's focus on materialism and quote unquote stuff, and change the focus to helping others. This year, 2020, is on Tuesday, December 1st. And for future reference, it is always the Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Hey, David, are you going to mention the extra one they had at the beginning of the year?
So yes, in 2020, earlier, I believe in May, because of the response to COVID and everything going on with that, they had an emergency Giving Tuesday Now event. I believe May 5th is ringing in my head, but I'm not sure if that's correct.
It was around that time, yeah.
Yeah. And it was essentially doing the same thing that we're doing in a couple weeks for Giving Tuesday, just focused on giving nonprofits kind of a leg up in a COVID/pandemic focused society at that time. And a lot of nonprofits brought in a lot of money, donations and support during that day and around that day, solely because of this Giving Tuesday Now movement. It is a very big movement. It's something that started off really small in 2012, and it has grown a lot over the years. So how does this impact nonprofits? In a word, support. Giving Tuesday is a great day to rally your supporters, be it donors or volunteers, to help your organization reach more people. Isn't that why a lot of nonprofits are created? Kind of adding that human touch to it, the connection portion of it. And nonprofits have ran to Giving Tuesday campaigning in droves. According to nonprofitsource.com, these are just some numbers I'm going to throw at you. In 2018, Giving Tuesday, the total number of online gifts was 3.6 million. The total amount donated was 380 million. And this is growing each and every year. So if you compare it to 2017, there was $274 million donated in 2017, which meant a growth of 38.8% year after over year to 2018. That's a big increase in support and donations. The average gift, if you divide 380 million by the total number of gifts, was about 105.55, which is pretty decent. It's not bad at all, which I'm sure could be used by a lot of nonprofits for a lot of different things. The total number of social media mentions was 14.2 billion with a B, so you can see it's a pretty big event. It gathers a lot of attention from a lot of different sources, nonprofits, the regular for-profit sector who want to capitalize on partnerships, and I'll get into that in a little bit. It's a very huge movement that I highly recommend, if you don't already check out, you look into. And the total number of participating countries was over 150. For some nonprofits, this is the biggest day of support for the year. Wouldn't your nonprofit want to participate in something that can garner so much support? So now that we know more about it, what can your nonprofit do to galvanize your supporters on Giving Tuesday? One of the ways that I like to think about this is get your supporters to support you on their own terms, or get your supporters to get their family and friends involved. The more connection a person feels to a nonprofit, the more likely they are to set up fundraisers and do stuff that'll really benefit your nonprofit, including fundraisers, setting up events, volunteering even. And one of the ways that people do this is through peer-to-peer fundraising. Many donation platforms offer peer-to-peer fundraising options. Peer-to-peer fundraising essentially allows your supporters to fundraise on your behalf. This will allow for a few things. One, this gives your supporters the opportunity to take a larger ownership of their involvement with your organization. And as nonprofits, that's kind of why in my opinion, a lot of them get into it, is to make the personal connection, to make people feel like they're a part of a community and doing something for the greater good. So the more connected they are to your organization and organization success, the more likely they are to continue to become bigger advocates, supporters, and donors.
Hey, David, are you going to show an example of this?
So I have examples coming up in a little bit. Yep,
Thank
next
you.
slide. Yep. The second reason is it helps to bring in more donations, because donors tend to donate to organizations whom their family and friends support. As I mentioned above, several donation platforms do this, such as iDonate, Classy, Donately, and if you think about peer-to-peer, one of the earlier ones was GoFundMe. That's kind of the model. If you think of peer-to-peer fundraising, that's kind of the model platform that you would think of when you think of peer-to-peer fundraising, essentially getting your supporters to fundraise on your behalf. GoFundMe was one of the earlier ones. They now expanded into personal support, so that it's not just related to nonprofits anymore. If someone has a personal need that they'd like to garner attention and resources to help them, then they are more than welcome to do that on GoFundMe. Some are more expensive than others. There are a lot, as I'm sure you all know. Some of the platforms out there, donation platforms, can become pretty expensive month after month. But there are some ones that are a little bit on the cheaper end, and I did leave one of the big platforms out.
Were you going to change? Is there another slide that shows them? Or are we still on?
No.
Okay, sorry. I apologize.
That's okay. So, Facebook. Thousands of nonprofits currently utilize Facebook's donation platform to encourage donations as well as peer-to-peer fundraising. So there is an application process which can take some time. We know this firsthand. One of our clients applied.
Yes, we do.
Yes, applied to be a nonprofit through Facebook, and it took, I would say, 4 or 5 months before they finally got accepted. A lot of this has to do with COVID and the fact that they have fewer support employees working. So if you are planning to implement Facebook fundraisers, my suggestion would be to start early. If you're looking to do it for 2020, for Giving Tuesday 2020, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen before 2 weeks from 3 days ago.
Yeah,
so
that's not going to happen. And I think people need to know that Facebook has a very strict standards on what you have to provide for them.
Mm-hmm.
And not to be offended, we have one nonprofit that refused to provide one of the things because they didn't want to, and Facebook would not approve them. So, and they're very logical. but you need to understand that Facebook has to do their due diligence. But
Hmm.
just think of what you gain in terms of if all your fans are reaching to their fans to say, for my birthday, I want you to donate to my charity.
Right.
So
And the nice thing about Facebook, sorry to cut you off,
no,
Virginia.
that's okay.
The nice thing about Facebook is that people, whether they want to admit it or not, tend to like to get attention for donations that they make. At least a lot of people. I won't generalize to the entire population, but because Facebook is such a big platform, people can show that they donated to a given cause on Facebook. So that tends to get them more involved and more ready and willing to give. So, however, if you would like to implement it, as I mentioned, for next year's Giving Tuesday, I would highly recommend that you apply sooner rather than later, as Facebook's support has been very slow since COVID hits.
And we are more than happy to help any of you if you need help getting to that or understanding the process.
Absolutely. Good point. Once you are approved, however, your Facebook posts and Instagram stories can include donation buttons. You will be allowed to have a donate button on your page right underneath the cover photo. And your supporters can create peer-to-peer fundraisers on your organization's behalf. It is kind of a lengthy process, as Virginia mentioned, and it can take a long time. And they're kind of finicky, as she also mentioned, about how things are submitted, to whom they're submitted, the formatting of the bank. One of our clients forgot the word bank, I believe, on the application, and it was denied initially. So Facebook has to be very careful, obviously, about who they give these packages to. So if
I,
you go ahead.
I'm gonna add the one thing that is that they don't just want the nonprofit address. The nonprofit address has to be on its own, and then they want a staff member's home address, because what they want to prove is that that nonprofit works out of the United States.
Right.
Some people balk at that because there's all this issues about Facebook and them knowing where you are. But the fact is, Facebook has to do their due diligence and know that they're giving this to a legitimate charity that is from the, where they say they are.
Right.
So don't freak out. This is information for Facebook on the back end, and it's not
Public.
right.
Right. Yep. And if you do get a little concerned about, is it really worth it? Am I going to get out as much as I put into it? I can say for certain that yes, the answer is yes. I know one of the clients that we've worked with implemented it a couple years ago and has raised thousands of dollars. It's an easy way to kind of get donations. And the other nice thing at the moment, I don't know if this will change in the future, but at the moment, Facebook does not take a cut of the donation at all. So you sign up, you apply for free, and then when people donate, you get all of that money.
Yeah, there's no
So
there's no handling fee.
there's no
And
handling fee.
yeah, that's a great thing. And we just started it for another client who in the first 30 days got $1,000, right? 30
Yep.
days. And that was it.
Yep.
And it's not even completely populated to all the people they know, even though we're pushing it out. So keep in mind it's a great way to get your platform known and to make some money.
Yep. 100%. So even if you already have a donation platform, it would be a nice supplement to have in addition to that.
Right.
As I mentioned, Facebook tends to, people who like to give on Facebook a lot of the times like to be thanked for it. And Facebook gives you that opportunity to do that in a more public setting than, say, email.
Right. And you're working it, because if you put it out there and people donate and you thank them, Facebook looks at that and gives you more credence in the feeds. So I think it's very important. Yeah.
Very, very beneficial.
Yeah.
So what's another tip that we could utilize? Um, Create a Giving Tuesday specific landing page on your website. So if you take a look at this diagram that I have in front of you, you have the URL at the top. Of course, it has this little S next to HTTPS, which is actually maybe the most important thing on this entire landing page, to be sure that what people are submitting you is secure. But this is an example of a landing page that is very simple, gets to the point, a prominent kind of positioning of media so that you have pictures, you can have a couple of small videos, and then a text of why they should donate, or basically the elevator pitch as to why people should donate to your cause. You don't want a huge form, a huge landing page that's very cumbersome. What we like to call that in the business is friction. So if you implement things that people will not do, or it'll take a long time for people to do, that's more friction that your process has. So that means that the people are less likely to give. So you really want to keep it simple in what you're putting out there, in all forms of communication, not just the landing pages for Giving Tuesday, but all forms of communication. Keep it concise, keep it simple, and make it easy for people to give. That's the biggest thing that I would say.
So that is
This whole thing.
so true, David. You know, one of the things I have with nonprofits, and they want more information because they want all this information. The fact is, you want them to make the donation. Once they make the donation, you have a connection. You can deal with that information later. You want to make, you're right. It's yes or no. I'm giving how much. That's it.
Yep. You don't want to send, let's say, for example, you create a Facebook post that's asking for donations and you send them to your website, but you send them to a website that doesn't have a donation form right where the link takes them. You have like a button where it takes them to another web page on your website. That just creates more hassle for the donor and increases friction for the donor, and that's not what we want.
Correct. Or the donor form is asking for more than name and email address. That's not what you want. You want their dollar amount. You don't want all this other stuff. You want them to participate. That's it.
Yep, 100%. So the donation form should be easily accessible and easy to utilize. Pictures and videos tend to do very well to show your organization's impact, as well as a brief outline of why they should give and what the donations will be used for. I would say transparency is key, as is persuasiveness, compelling, and being concise. One of the more important things is to make sure that your donation landing page is mobile friendly, as more and more people access the internet via a mobile device nowadays. So think phones, tablets, that kind of thing.
Yeah, if they're sitting on the couch and get the urge to give you money, you want to take it.
Yep, that's true. That's absolutely true. So moving on, as many nonprofits already know, there are matching gifts that many organizations and companies offer. So what I would recommend is to encourage donors to see if their companies match donations. Thousands of companies in the US match donations. This would allow your organization to essentially get quote unquote free money. Put it out there so your donors know how to ask their companies if they match donations. There are also actually there's a cool tool that I recommend on the next slide that will help you in this process. And that would be double the donation. So I found this actually while I was doing research for this presentation. And essentially what it is it's an app that can allow you to embed a form on your website where a person or donor can add their company information to it, search for their company, and see if the company offers matching donations. So this is incredible for a bunch of reasons. Excuse me. One of which is it makes it super simple for your donor to find if their company matches instead of going to HR and emails and all that sort of stuff. Double the donation will actually take the easy work out, make the hard work easy for you, so that your donors can find matching donations the easy way. It's a very simple tool. It does cost money. It's close to $500. They have a couple different plans, the lowest of which is $500. But as the old saying goes, you kind of have to spend money to make money. You need to invest in things that will get you what you were looking for, which, as we all know, would be donations.
That's very cool. I always like when I'm doing research for something and I come along upon something that's different and new, because there's always people reinventing the wheel. So that's great, David.
Yeah, it was very cool to find, and actually, I'm looking to implement it with a couple clients of mine already at this point.
Fabulous.
Yep. So partnerships. One idea is to partner with a couple of businesses or nonprofits to cross promote. Use the same hashtags, share each other's campaigns, reach out to influencers and micro influencers. Those are people who have a fair amount of followers on Instagram or Facebook, for example, to get both of your organizations' messages out there. And be sure to retweet, share, and mention each other's campaigns. Whatever you decide to do to cross promote each other, be sure to set proper expectations early on and be clear on terms of the partnership before it begins. You want to make sure you're not saying you'll do something and then not do it, or doing something when you're not supposed to do it. You want to be clear with your partner on what they and you will get out of it. And be appreciative. Let your partners know that you appreciate them in social media posts and newsletters. And last piece of it, well, not quite the last piece, videos. So when it comes to social media, I think we all know video is king. This is not different for nonprofits. Social videos tend to generate 1,200% more shares than text and images combined. And viewers retain 95% of a message when they watch it in a video, compared to 10% when they are reading it in a text format. There are tons of apps out there that can help you add motion to your graphics. One of my personal favorites, Canva, is one of the easiest graphics slash video creation platforms that I've come across. They also offer a pro plan for free to nonprofits, again, another application process that gets you a whole bunch of other stuff. You can get, for example, you can get stock images that they normally charge for. You can get that for free. You get access to stock videos that normally people have to pay for. A nice tool that they offer. Again, give yourself plenty of time if you're looking to sign up for it, as it does take a little bit of time. Other examples of, go ahead.
I was just going to mention Canva is the best free tool for any business or nonprofit to sign up for, to create the assets they need to. It's very easy to learn. It's very simple. And like you said, the pro plan is free for nonprofits. That's who we're talking to today.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great tool, and anyone can use it from anywhere. You can have team members. Definitely check that out.
Yep. The learning curve, I mean, when people think of graphic creators or image creators, they think of Photoshop. That tends to be the first one that comes to people's minds. But Photoshop has a very steep learning curve. So if you are a beginner looking to explore how you can create assets, I highly recommend checking out Canva. It is very simple to learn.
Absolutely.
So other examples, though, include iMovie, Magisto, and Biteable, many of which also offer discounts for nonprofits.
And videos, you should know, not give you double bonuses, because if you have a YouTube channel and you put your SEO on there and pull everything from that to where you're posting it either on Facebook, on Instagram, on your website, you're getting SEO benefit from that.
100%. So, and this last part is I recommend you to think differently. That was terrible English. I apologize for that.
That's the subject of 2020. Think differently.
Yes, recommend you think differently. Okay, so try to think differently. At this time of year, people are being bombarded with Giving Tuesday, please. Stand out. Don't fit in. This could be anything from different quick videos to promoting what makes your nonprofit different from others, to promoting and advertising on different platforms such as TikTok. Think about how your social media content can stand out too, as Facebook fundraiser live telethons or an Instagram Reels promotion. Facebook I just saw this come across this week, offers the platform to do like a live telethon via Facebook. They now offer that for nonprofits. Again, I think you have to be registered as a nonprofit to participate, but a cool thing that many nonprofits can take a part of that can really make a difference in your finances and support. As I mentioned, there are thousands of nonprofits who participate in Giving Tuesday. Make sure that you keep that in mind when creating your campaign.
Yeah, just making one Giving Tuesday post is not going to get the response that you want. You have to have a plan. You know, you have to have that peer-to-peer financing and peer-to-peer fundraising in place. You need to have the video assets in place. And keep in mind, nonprofits love to tell the long story and the history and what they've done. And that's not what gets people to donate. It's the passion. It's the
emotion.
Emotion, the inspiration. And a lot of nonprofits don't want to do web sourcing, collaboration, let someone else give the message. The fact is if there's more people shouting your message, whether it's the exact phrases you want or not, they're reaching more people and getting more people to come back to your website and to give. So crowdsourcing, that was the word I was looking for.
There you go.
Is very important to let others help you push your message out. So they make a funny TikTok video that you would never put out, but it resonates with their friends and their friends give. So you have to look at the overall goal at the end and what you're getting. How are you handling it? And is it okay that message speaks a little different, but it gets what you want, your goal. You get the funding, you get the donations. So be able to think differently and let a little of the control go. One of the things in nonprofits that maybe some of you heard about is called founders syndrome, where the person who founded has a singular vision. And I'm taking nothing against the founder of a nonprofit and what they've done, but you need to collaborate. You need to be outside that to reach more people and to get more funding back and to bring more people into your cause. Sorry, David.
No, that's all good. No, it's okay. And with that, are there any questions?
I have no questions in the chat. You gave a lot of good information, and I will talk for a second to see if anyone wants to put a message in the chat.
Okay.
And then I'm going to pop up, a pop-up will come on your screen. I'll do it right now. That has a link to where you go to watch other ones of Friday recordings if you want to check any of the other ones out that we have. And it's been great to be with you. We've covered our half hour. I hope we offered you some ideas and some inspirations. It is late in the game at this point. You should still do something for Giving Tuesday, but your plan should probably come together in August for Giving Tuesday and what you're going to do so you can create your assets and get things done. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do something this year, at least to get your foot wet. Thank you for coming.